Not everybody gets to go to America and follow the blessings that I did and make the money that I did and still come home and provide for community. It doesn't always happen. Hardly happens. It hardly happens. So it's not like that figure. It's difficult even out that.
Today is the
If you ready, I'm ready. Let's talk.
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk South Africa. I am Gregory, your host, and you know what we do here. We sit around in the living room. We talk about those things you talked about around your dinner or supper table. Yes, and I'm here with two guests today. I want to introduce them. First and foremost, Marjorie. How are you?
I'm fine, Gregory. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm excited to be back in South Africa. I was gone for 2 weeks to Accra and Almeida and Cape Coast, and here I am back after sweating off maybe like 5 pounds.
Okay. Well, welcome back. We also have Kira. How are you?
Hi guys, my name is Kira. My name is Kira. I am from Johannesburg. I lived in the States for 14 years and I relocated back with my family to Johannesburg and yeah.
All right. Well, welcome, ladies. Thank you for being here. Let's just talk. Today, we're just going to have a smorgasbord. That's everything, all kind of food left over from the week we needed. So let's start with this one. You got 5 million? You got 5 million?
No, I don't. No.
You can buy your way into America now, according to Mr. Trunky. What do you think about that? 5 million.
I wouldn't do it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to spend 5 million for citizenship. I live here in South Africa, beautiful over here. No. I'm not doing it. I don't do that now.
What do you think about that, Margie?
Well, I mean, it's a word that they're reaching out only to a certain class of people.
Hmm.
The highest class of people, or those with the most money. What's the guarantee? Are these people supposed to take some of that money? I guess they have more than 5 million and invest in some industry or something. And I don't understand what the purpose of that is.
Like, if they have $5 million, they can stay in their own countries because they're actually doing pretty well in their own countries for them to even afford to gather $5 million. Why would they say no? Where are they from?
Well, I don't know because I don't know what the draw is. Even other than old movies, why is somebody dying to come to the United States?
That bad, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just left a lawyer's office and he said to me, you know, something, I watch lots of Tyler Perry movies. Isn't it like that? You know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know any people.
Yeah.
I don't know any people that are like that. So, you know, there's this American fantasy that in the mind of people who don't have money. I would expect that somebody who had $5 million has probably been in and out of the United States, you know, at their leisure. So what's the big deal? I mean, why would anybody do that? It's just goofy.
It is goofy, but isn't that funky?
It's droppy.
I'm serious. Isn't that funky?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. What does that say about the image of America that they're now selling ourselves?
One of our they're selling the country. So here's when asked if wealthy Russians could qualify, Trump said, possibly. I know some Russian oligarchs who are very nice people. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, this sounds like a publicity's done. I can't believe anybody would actually.
I don't think anybody's going to actually do it. Honestly, I don't think anybody would actually go to spend $5 million specifically.
I think they would. I think they would because they want the access. And I wondered when I first heard it, I thought about, when you said Russian oligarchs or Russian security, I thought about, would that be an easy way for a spy to come into the country?
Spies already.
Yeah, they
everywhere. So,
are you guys familiar with Portia Williams? Probably later. He was married. I can't think of his name right now. He's from Nigeria. He was wealthy. He had married to like one of the wealthy women or what? I don't know. But he probably voted recently. Don't you think he has $5 million to buy his
That is way back, huh?
So maybe you have to be, not only have 5 million, but be white.
But yeah, maybe because he was pretty wealthy. He had jets, cars, houses, businesses.
Mm.
So
Well, wouldn't that be like Trump can make it about a deal? The art of
It's
the
just a
deal.
thing about diplomacy or any of that other stuff that people used to talk about a deal. Let's get a deal. Here, also reading at it says that they could do this, could sell 10 million visas to help reduce the national debt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that,
how does that really use of that?
I don't know.
Well, his plan is to, as we roughly how many it is, that that will eliminate a trillion of the debt. I don't know. The thinking to me is just bizarre, and it represents he's in the White House, in my opinion. And I'm not being demeaning. I'm just saying it just represents the way he talks, the way he thinks. 5 million, come on in, But yet you're running everyone else out, saying they're not, worried. I mean, do we not know America became what it is because of the people who came in? Thanks to the takeovers. Right? It's exactly. But now we're selling ourselves 5 million. Well, I said ourselves. The United States is selling itself for 5 million a pop, huh? Wow.
I don't know whatever happened to, this whole checks and balances. I mean, like, who does this go through? Or is this guy just able to just come up with anything and it just flies with everybody? I mean, we're the Democrats and all of it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just shows us how far America's fallen. In my opinion, it just shows me how far we get fallen. I keep saying we. I don't live there anymore. I don't live there anymore. But yeah, it just shows me how far America has fallen.
Do you think that the United States is on the verge of collapse?
I do.
In what way, politically or economically or socially, would you say?
All you have to do is watch the last 2 years of politics in the United States, and it's right there on our televisions. No one agrees with, not even the Republican Party agrees with. The Democrat, I mean, this is one side or the other. There's no working together. I think we've lost the concept and understanding of for the people, by the people. It's not for that anymore. It's about you can sell itself to. 5 million.
Is it fair? Is it fair? How do you guys feel if somebody says, I don't really care about politics, I don't vote. It doesn't make a difference to me whether I vote or not because things are not going to change in my people.
Or for the black people?
I'll give that to you first.
No, you go first.
All right, I would say
that.
that.
It's a minute to ruminate with
I would say that that is a reflection of what we've seen over the years. Who's representing? Who's representing the melanin people? Then you trust Democrats, then you trust Republicans. Who has represented us? And then we see a lot of melanin people standing up, going with the side who they think is going to get. Supporting. I don't know how any person of color, whether you be Chinese, Japanese, Latino, or Caribbean, or African American, I don't see how anyone can support Trump. That's just my position. Your thoughts?
So your question is, how do I feel about people saying that voting,
That they don't vote.
they don't
They
vote
don't care about it.
because they don't care? I think some people are so politically estranged
Yeah.
and disaffected that they have absolutely no clue of what's going on. And that a lot of what they've been told all of their lives, it comes out seeming as if it was a lie.
Yeah.
So, this is the way it is. It's never going to change. Why should I vote? It doesn't matter. I need blah, blah, blah on the table. I don't know if, the whole thought of this happening because people don't believe that it'll affect him. And it's not just minorities, but there are other people who just, that white men say to me It doesn't matter because it's not going to affect me. I got a lot of money in the bank. A friend of mine told me. Another one said to me, "Oh, I'm looking at this, I just find it fascinating." I'm like, "Well, did you find it fascinating if somebody held a gun up to your neighbor's head?" So they can step back and look at things and not be attached to those things. But ultimately, whatever is happening is going to come and hit them on the door. I mean, just like you see this comeback now with people saying, I voted for Trump and my wife lost her job at the National Park Service, right? Or, I don't care about blah, 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 but I really didn't want this to happen, but now I need these benefits, or the fact that medicine, what do you take for diabetes and penicillin?
Pencil.
The insulin was $18 and now it's gone back up to $71 or $81. Just in 1 month's time.
Yeah.
So it will ultimately affect everyone. Now, I thought about what you said, the white gentleman. You said, I got a lot of money in his What's he going to do when the dollar affects?
I mean, people are just like, certain sorts to think it's not going to hurt me or affect me. And then you get turned on and you just get lost in the garbage that's on television. And yeah. Wait.
Look at this.
With this whole thing, like, with people saying, "Oh, well, we did our marching and we've done this and done that in the past and we're not going to do anything anymore," So you don't mind watching your Hispanic neighbors being dragged out of the house, or you don't mind that this little community that was created inside of another subculture, no longer exists because those people don't want to come outside anymore. They were vibrant parts of that community. Yeah. And now we're just going to say, "Oh, well, it's not us." But who are you going to go with?
Right.
So.
All right. Shifting gears a little. Diddy wants to sell his soul to Trump for unity and loyalty. What do you think about that?
You get out of jail? Yes. Okay. Like I was really, I would too. I don't know. I don't want to go to jail if I was Diddy. He's already things are gonna happen to him. He's able to get out. He's being traumatized in jail. He's not doing anything to get out of jail right now.
So what happened to the days that we believed that used to be there? You could just pay your way out of jail. What about people who are in jail now? Just for selling weed. You never got it, but I'm sure they're in jail because they couldn't pay child support. Yeah. There's a disproportionate number of black people that are in jail. Yeah. So, but they can't pay their way out, but this guy can. I mean, the whole thing that people had about America and freedom and justice and equality, all that is totally out the window, and it's all in your face that it's out the window. I don't know why anyone is going to be so patriotic and, when all the things that we were taught to believe become a lie in your face.
Yeah.
Right in your face. And therein lies why I said I see America from the plug of the sinners. What do you think about that? America's coming to plug of the sinners.
Yeah. I think from my point of view, America definitely is coming apart politically. As an outsider, I am looking in, I don't realize how bad it was until I love it. Because everyone else in America, everyone else loves America because it's America. Because it was once, exactly. The Tyler Perry movies, right? You think, go see the Tyler Perry and from that man, maybe more than you go. And, no, it's not the case, ladies. It's fine, but no, but looking from the side, looking in, you want to be there, but the moment you're there, it's just so much disparity between different groups of people, the poverty, it's everything,
Drugs.
the drugs,
Homelessness.
homelessness, there's no food. Why are people not eating? Foster care systems, every single thing, everything, it needs to be taken a look at again. Like, I didn't realize that there's so much happening in this melting pot in America until I actually moved here. And it's actually quite sad how the people are actually living, right? So
So when a South African says to you, I'm going to go for America, what do you say to them?
the last night was there. It's you know, we discriminate in South Africa because we're like, oh my God, we're in South Africa because of the load shedding, oh, the crime, just, but when you go, you're going to suffer. Enjoy your country. Enjoy the luxuries that Johannesburg or South Africa has to offer, because you're not going to get that in America. You have to work 4 or 5 jobs to make you work in America. You don't have to do that in South Africa. Yes, so the pay is it's vastly different. I do believe that if you are underpaid in South Africa, but it's not as bad in America. Because in America, you have to work 5 jobs to make it work, just to make it out. And people are still going to discriminate against you because of your color. Right? Do your light skin right? Asking that it does not matter, then it discriminate against you because of the community that you come from. It's like this. It's a thing that's just what it is. But you want to go visit? If you want to go visit, that's fine. But I would not suggest anybody thinking up their whole life. Well, I made it in America. I made it well for me. My story as a foreigner in America is not everybody's story. Not everybody gets to go to America and follow the blessings that I did and make the money that I did and still come home and provide people with it. It doesn't always happen. Hardly happens. It hardly happens. So it's not like that figure. It's difficult even out that.
Today is difficult.
Yeah.
And you're right about the intensity of work, necessity of the intensity of work.
It's like a rat race.
Yes. Yes. So the quality of life going down the toilet. I first recognized that when I went to Kenya in 2009. So I'm staying with the family. And I observed how everyone in the family did something every day to help advance the family forward. In the USA, everybody's going in different directions in fact. So you come home in the evening and you eat dinner, and brothers in one room watching television, sisters in another room watching television, mothers in another room watching television. Dad is down in the living room watching.
Yeah.
What are you for on the phone? Nobody's together.
Yeah.
You know, nobody hardly does anything together. And I had to take a look at that and say, man, we lost that. And that was the beginning of my recognizing and noticing, therefore, that the quality of life in the States is really down here. You're losing that whole sense of family stuff. Losing.
And that's like a economic but also social reality. And you know, I've been in other countries and just observing, right? And you know, sitting around eating dinner somewhere in Mexico and walking down the road as grandma, the uncle, the aunt, you know, all the cousins, and you know, somebody else is getting ready to have a baby shower, and they're all together. Like, I hardly ever see that in the United States. You go out at night and Turkey and all these people are outside and families and you're like, you know, or you get on I was on a ferry in Turkey. Somebody came out with a violin.
Oh, seriously?
And then the whole boat started singing.
Wow.
You know, and I was like, I can't even imagine there being one song that everybody would sing in the United States, you know? So this is, it's a nationalism, it's a belief in your people and your community and watching out for each other. But where we are, it's like, you may not even know the neighbor across the street.
So true.
Or right next door to you. Or even if you're in an apartment, you may not know the people at the building or any of them in the building because everyone is like suspicious and afraid about individuality.
Afraid because of socially. Right? Social media, like, your mom, right? Widow, right? And if people, I feel like in today's society, we believe that I like my space. I don't want to be touched. I don't want to be speaking to nobody. I'm going to be scrolling on my phone instead. I'm an introvert. Everybody's introverts today. Everybody wants to be an introvert. If nobody wants to, so I want to be home. I don't want to go out. I don't want to interact with nobody. Don't call me. Text me.
Don't dare pop up in my house.
Don't pop up in my house. Don't come knocking my door. Please call before you come over. Why, guys? The neighbor used to come over and ask me some sugar. Can I get a tomato? Can I get a potato? But that's the address now.
Right. It's funny you said that because I was thinking of that. I remember once, remember cool?
Yes.
I remember once my mother, I had 5 sisters. So, sometimes they use everything and they don't tell mom or dad. And so now we need something and didn't know, right? So my mother had dinner almost ready. So she wanted to make pudding. So she wanted to get some sugar. There was no sugar, right? So she's fussing. I'm standing in the kitchen because I'm hungry. I'm ready to eat, right? So I'm standing in the kitchen with her and she turned to me and gave me a cup and said, please go next door and get some sugar for my neighbor. And I did that. You go next door today, you're liable to be shot. You say this.
Or you think you might be shot, or you're fearful that you might be shot. I don't know. It's just the social relations between people are so different. And I'm sure that it has something to do with the economic situation that we're living. People are alienated from one another. They're alienated from their work. See, everyone is just a commodity. What can you do something? I'll marry you, but you better make your own money. Then, was that a high quality woman?
Financials.
Yes.
Financials, right?
It's just, so there's a social aspect, and then obviously we're always talking about the political aspect of the government that we believe was so great and offered this great democracy and this democratic republic we're living in, and everything is for freedom and the Constitution, and then we see all of that eroding right in front of our face.
However, America is so very organized compared to other countries, though.
Do that.
Politically, they're way more organized.
In which way would you say that?
In terms of
Checks and balances.
checks and balances, the law, when it comes, for example, you can bribe a police officer in Diaspora to let you go. You can never give up being in here.
Oh, wait a minute. You don't have to bribe them. They're going to ask you.
They're going to ask you straight up.
Yeah.
They're
They're
going
going
to
to
let you
ask
know, I want something.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go.
I need them really
Right.
hungry today.
They,
Yeah,
usually
KFC's around the corner.
usually
You
they
have some
start
coke
with
in
me.
your car, right? It's just that's how it is. The law also comes away, like in America, they come down on you. Like there's no room to mess up in America because they're gonna come after you and they're gonna get you, right? If your kid is assaulted, goes to the police station, they're gonna deal with that. 3 months or 2 years from now in America, there's no time to mess with kids. They don't give you that time to do it, and then the school systems. School opened up recently for South Africa to go back to school, right? There was starting 15,000 kids sitting out school the first day of school.
Wow.
Because there's no infrastructure, there's no schools, there's no place for these kids. We have the kids. And it never happened in America. You're not going to leave a child home in America without, I don't know where's my kid going, where's my school. There's a lot of things like that, so when I say it's more organized, that's what I'm referring to. So, yeah.
Okay. So we talked about Mexico.
And-
You brought up
You go downstairs, people are buying you drinks, and you say, you brought the credit card. People say, yo, man, it's so funny. No. So I mean, it's just like part of life, I mean, that guy used to be in this, but from what I could see, that all of the violence that was happening would be between them. It wasn't
Yes.
like, they're coming after, Americans. Yeah, because they want American money because they own a lot of hotels and the whole infrastructure down there. I mean, even like weed, if you get a bag of weed that has some little symbol on it, it's cartel weed, so nobody's going to bother you with this weed, right? And if it doesn't have that on there, you might go to jail for it. It's really... So, what do you think about it? I mean, like, how are they So from what I just read, that these people were extradited into the United States. So I guess Mexico just gave them up.
Yeah, that's the part I looked at. I thought about it. I said, wow, Mexico would give them up like that? Man, what's their allegiance to the States? I mean,
Well, maybe he's like, I know, read the one of them at least, and I read about all committed a crime in the United States. So he was sent
that
back
makes
to the United
sense.
States.
Yeah.
But the bullying of Mexico that's happening by the Trump administration, I mean, that bothers me because Mexicans, they don't mess around, you know? I've never seen anybody that worked that hard in their entire life, you know? You got to clean up this room. I mean, three guys, this guy's getting the, bottles, that one's getting the salt, pepper, that one's getting the ketchup, this was the, and it's done in like, yeah. I mean, they're just so amazingly organized and serious about the work. I mean, I watched the 4-story building go up. It felt like it 2 days because they were just like busting their ass. They say working like a Mexican. I don't know if that is supposed to be an insult, but I've never seen people work so seriously, take their work so serious. And, I don't know how these people are going to ever get replaced. Those who did work on farms and who are migrant laborers, how is that going to happen? I don't know. But the stereotype about Mexico, people sitting around with sombreros and, it's just so wrong. I mean, I really, you get like attached to certain countries and, and the way that people do things. I don't know. I mean, I think that I would defend this country. And I would defend that country too. It's like, leave those people alone.
I went to Mexico 5 times.
Don't they just go to Tijuana?
No, I was in Madera. Is it Madera? Yeah. And we went through a town. So to get to the people that I was there from this trip. So to get to the people that we were going to serve 10, 12 hours, depending on the condition of the road and the 2 rivers that we had to go through. So you stopped in the town. This is where we buy all food for the days that we I think it was 4 days when we got from the mountain. And so the one guy who was the driver, he said, "Hey, come for a run with me." I said, "Okay." So we jumped in the van and we drive around, driving looking for the pastor who's leading this whole thing. He's Mexican. And we find him. And the brother hands him a briefcase. Hands him a briefcase. And the pastor goes off. And we go off. Later, the pastor comes and gets in the van and no briefcase. So I had to wonder, did he just pay for our passage to get to this town? To get up to the mountains to the people? I don't know. But we didn't have that briefcase. We didn't have that briefcase.
Well, maybe it had some Bibles in it.
Is that what you think? Is that what you think?
I mean, I don't know. I always think the best of people before I ever see the worst.
Okay.
And then maybe they do exactly the spots.
I got you. I'm just, a practical guy.
What else did you observe in Mexico other than the story of?
Well, there is a story, but I won't tell because it may come to me. But anyway, I'm in South Africa now. Anyway, so I'm a practical guy. So for me, it's not about good or bad or whatever. It's just 1 + 1 equals 2.
Yeah.
So briefcase, gets a passport, pastor walks off, comes back later, no briefcase. 1 + 1 equals 2. So any thoughts on the 29 men extradited to the States? That's crazy to me. I just don't
No, I've already made my comment.
Any thoughts? Okay, you good? Okay. All right. So what's next up on our smorgasbord list? Canada, the 51st state of America. Mr. Trump here. I love your facial expression. Let it out.
That would never happen.
I don't think they would allow it.
No, this is a sovereign country.
Yeah,
there's
they would allow that. Canada's a whole country.
Yeah.
It's literally a whole country. They never allow it.
Is it hot air? Because I mean, they're still on the France side.
No. Yeah.
And trust me. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like Quebec, they think they have some French thing going. They might still be part of the British Commonwealth. But it still is a sovereign country. And from what I understand, things don't, are now starting to hate the United States, Hockey game, they come out and boo. It's probably not as much traffic back and forth between
US
Canada and the United States. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's part of one of the characteristics of fascism, right? To start this whole imperialism, colonialism stuff all over again. I mean, the kind of stuff is kind of dead.
Yeah.
Maybe neo-colonialism through a corporation or something, but you have one state saying you're going to take over another nation state. I mean, and absorb them. And I mean, so they're supposed to give up their Canadian money and, and then nothing. But I mean, even to have that as a discussion or even a thought.
Yeah.
Two things.
That's how bold he is, though.
Two things.
Really bold.
Is it bold or stupid? I can't weigh that one. I would lean to the side of stupid. But I wonder if it is not from articulating the future. I said earlier, I see the United States coming part of the Zooms. I see him laying the foundation for that dictatorial position that he knows.
Well, when you say coming apart, are you saying like splitting up into different countries?
No, I'm saying coming apart morally, certainly on a political level. We're just following.
And in
I keep saying we. Sorry.
I know because
Correct myself.
because be a citizen of the world.
Yeah.
So
You were saying no?
no, there's the political. When you were speaking of people voting, like voting on a local level, that's where your town mayor, or town council, or whatever, and in some way in a state level. But then when it comes to the federal government and the people, you don't know if these representatives, be they in the House or in the Senate, are they doing what the constituency wants, or are they guided by the corporations that are paying for their candidates? Or are they actually thinking their heart and their head? And everything points that they are doing is because the corporations and the lobbyists are paying those. Because they're not thinking. I mean, the lobbyists write the bills. And so this makes me think that there's somebody even further on the top, manipulating all of them. So maybe, on a local level, our schools might be great or accessible, I should say. They're not necessarily good. But now, so is Trump, now he wants to get rid of portions of bureaus or agencies of the federal government. Wants to get rid of agencies in the federal government. And these agencies help ensure that the constitutional rights that we have are enforced. Right? So you have environmental protection, consumer affairs, and all these random agencies, the FCC, whatever, Health and Human Services, Department of Education. These are all part of the rights that are granted to citizens in the United States. But let's cut the way, and most people don't even understand the purpose of this bureaucracy is to get these jobs through merit and pass tests and all types of, checks and, people have done all kinds of background checks. And a lot of these people are Black people, right? So we talk about DEI. It's not, they didn't hire them because they were Black. They hired them because she has a master's degree in this. She's a specialist in that. It's nothing, it's the most fair system of hiring people, the federal government. Not unless you're appointed to a position. And in your federal government, you have the place to be nonpartisan because you're just doing a job. But now they've turned their backs on the bureaucracy, or rather turn their guns against the bureaucracy to get rid of people if they don't pledge loyalty. So I heard yesterday that these, 12-year-olds, 21-year-olds who are going in and checking and making sure checking people about their job.
Mm-hmm.
And they would ask, I was an agency that deals with computers and programs that's the federal government uses. Like, you log in to Social Security and get information. So they're computer ones that are in these offices that have been hired by the federal government. Some of them were in private corporations before, but now they're in the federal government because they wanted to help the people who work for the government, because they believe. So now you've got these young people coming in and asking them, what do you do at your job? How do you feel about Trump? Who did you vote for? These things are all illegal. This is already written out that you're not supposed to do that. I thought if I got a doctorate in public administration, I would have studied the bureaucracy. I really appreciate that because you have experts doing things for the government. But now they're just slicing away at people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a cool thing.
Or is that the foundation being laid for
The collapse?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a foundation for a collapse or a bigger hole being made for it. Sure it is. But what's even worse is that I don't think the majority of people in the United States even understand the way the government operates. And they think, all they're thinking about is the blue rubber they met at the DMV, Yeah. Yeah, and how does he work for the government, blah, 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 But no, they're people that you don't even see who are living in PG County and keeping the prices of these homes high, right? And now these homes are being sold for, $200,000 less than they were worth, from what I read. And I guess who's going to buy those up? But there's a BlackRock.
So what's happening to America? When we look internally, there is a video out that someone took, it was a white gentleman walking through Philadelphia. And all these homeless, the majority, I say 85, 90% were white. Homeless drug addicts on the streets in Philadelphia. The last time I went to the States in 2023, I flew out to Oregon, Portland, Oregon. Driving down the highway, I'm seeing tents all along the highway. People living in the tents. I talked to a friend from Los Angeles who told me where he used to live and go to school was Cal State Northridge. There's a main boulevard, I think it's a boulevard, or avenue, called Nordhoff. He said you'll find young people in tents all the way down that road. The area was a very nice, high-end area. What's happening in that? We have so much homelessness.
But they don't show all of that. No, that's what
Yeah.
on YouTube. We know there's homelessness, but like in New Jersey or New York, you see it, but you don't really see it as heavy as in these states, especially in California. It's shocking. Driving in their viaduct. Anywhere. Texas is like that. All of these states that are warm places that people are just out there. And what's interesting, and they're white and black, but they're white, and no one addresses that in these conventions, Democrat or Republican. No one addresses the homeless situation. Why is nobody addressing the need for so many people to be stoned off fentanyl all the time? Nobody addresses the amount of mental illness that's going on.
I see it as karma. I've heard it said, and I don't remember who it was, it said, exploitation of any one people ultimately affects the masses. And I see the whole, what was that, president's wife who said the war on drugs?
So, Nancy?
Yeah, Nancy Reagan, yeah. Yeah, that whole
Is
war on
Reagan?
drugs was about locking up black men. Come on, let's face it, right? But now look at, I know the work I did in jails and prisons in the States. I used to go in 60, 70% of them be black. 20% Latino. And then others. Now, I'm telling you, when I left Texas, it was the other way around, 60, 70% white.
Mm-hmm.
And then women really, yeah.
So, so what? So they're
And that's-
building more prisons for these people?
And the majority of them were in there for drug fighters. Yeah. You question?
No, I mean, so they're building more prisons,
And
private prisons.
private prisons.
So you will get some stock in a private prison and come up with ways to round up hundreds and hundreds of people. I mean, way what they're doing with people, not just not deporting them, but then they're sending some people to jails in, El Salvador. They're sending them to Guantanamo, someplace in Panama. I mean, it's just amazing. It's really, and what's so scary is that we're just allowing this to happen, and there should be major public outrage.
Well, let's get rid of a myth. Moving on to another subject matter. Let's get rid of a myth. Let's eliminate it today. Talking to you, T. America, the greatest nation in the world. Last time I looked, it was number 17.
Who's number one?
I think
China.
it was Switzerland.
What's the name?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
it may have been Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So what are the indicators that make a country great?
Well, I don't know. I didn't look into the indicators. What I searched was the best place in the world to live.
I think probably one of the indicators, I'm assuming, would be how happy are the people. How at peace are the people. That's what I'm thinking.
Healthcare, things of that
Healthcare,
nature, ability to find
education.
work. And
Yeah. How happy are the people? Like I said, I've been saying with America because the last one is you're working endless hours to make ends meet. Some people are working jobs like doing that.
I try to
In
tell
America.
South Africans that all the time.
Yeah.
And I said, you know you want to go there, you volunteer life. Oh no, why you want to be here? I must have been asked that 200 times if I didn't that gig.
Yeah.
At least. I South Africa. Okay, you want to go to America? Go. You'll find out really quickly. And that's one of the things that I tell people. I say, listen, you're working so much to have the big house, the big cars, all those things.
Good to have a little bit for the apartment.
Yes. It's not easy. Rent is extremely high. Buying a home is expensive. Everything. Your time, your joy with your kids, your family time, because you're trying to make ends meet. It's a lot.
Right. Goes back to what I said earlier. Everybody's in their own room because they want to be peaceful. They have all that weight on them. I don't want to talk right now. I need to get all this mess off of you.
Yeah, I don't know how somebody got to break that illusion. You know how tree-lined streets will get worse. Or
White picket fence.
White picket fence or Montclair, New Jersey. You know how nice. So this is what's projected in the movies,
Yeah.
right? And so,
Exactly.
yes, people here see that. People are reality. People in the United States see.
Yeah.
But the majority of people don't even live that way.
Like mess in New York, so the quality is the lights, the bodies, the yellow cabs.
But you don't see them even.
Okay.
Right?
And you don't know what's happening behind those buildings. There are tons of homeless people in every single corner.
Walk down one of those alleys. You'll smell urine all the way down.
Everywhere.
So, yeah. You know, I was thinking about that yesterday. Like, you get to some corner and you like automatically shitting in there with off.
Yeah.
But I did that here. I was like, oh, the smell. I didn't see the smell. I didn't feel the smell was smell. I didn't sense that smell. But so here the people have a nice tree-lined streets and it's fall and the leaves are coming down. Everyone's dressed well. You go to their houses and clean. And,
Yeah.
it's just so lovely. But I mean, the majority of people do not.
No.
And so these poor white people, the lower class and working class, you never see them depicted anyway. And so those people,
Because they're not in the street.
yes, but you know what? And I think that those poor white people are frustrated by it. They're frustrated because they're saying, we don't do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then they'll see somebody laugh at someone, you know, and then it must be their fault. So, you know, and no party themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The only person that ever addressed them outside of Trump was Bernie Sanders. Nobody
Yeah.
addresses them.
Mm. So the American dream is gone. It's down the toilet or going down. There are pockets in America that's
America's
still-
not all that bad.
Yeah, there's still
America's not
pockets.
all
No,
that bad.
and points that you made are great, but they're trying to sort of get rid of public education right now, to now get into a private situation. So let's see how maybe, you know, 2 generations from now will do that.
As you were saying, it's not that bad.
No, America's not that bad. America does have its own culture. America does have great pockets of people, great pockets to go and visit, you know, and see, to stay. America's not that bad. The legal system, I know you guys are going to debate me on that, but I'm just coming from South Africa. The legal system is, in my opinion, is great. I wish they had that type of legal system in South Africa.
Give me an example other than the police,
I-
911 and
first responder, besides the legal, first responders. In America, you want a first responder, you get the EMT, police, everybody. Every first responder will come out over here. They will, within 10 minutes, will be in your house, so they everything be there. In South Africa, that's not the case.
Yeah.
You better get in your own car and get drive yourself to the hospital. It's not gonna happen to
there's
you.
no ambulance.
There's no.
I had a brother tell me.
No,
his
that you're
wife-
never gonna wait. If you're in trouble, don't call the police. Go call your uncle. Go call your friend. Don't call the police to come and help you. It's not gonna happen. You won't be dead. You're gonna die. It's not. It's just that's how it is. So and then hospitals. Hospitals are 2 out of 2. That's about rating. In America, it's 10 out of 2.
Not every hospital is
No.
equal.
Majority.
And the same here too, because I went to Forward's Life, had privilege, and they were rich. They were really good. Forward's Life, it depends on where you go.
And you have money to
And
go
the
there.
money to
We
go.
have money to go there.
Well, yeah, you go
Majority
into
of South Africans don't have money to go there.
Yeah, but if you go now to the United States, you go into the hospital, first they want to see your insurance, right?
But they're not gonna tell you to leave. If I walk
No,
into
but they
a
might
private
send you to
hospital,
that
it's not-
side of the hospital. I mean, I've seen this. They might send
Okay.
you over there when Jerry Gates is on. Hold on for a minute. We might get to you.
Okay.
I mean, all hospitals definitely aren't equal. All hospitals definitely aren't equal. And the whole thing with the ambulance, God, now they're here to do business to staff.
Mhm.
You know? I mean, so everything that's missing from you could be.
It's a business of course it is, yes. But that's stuff that is run by the government. Oh, yeah.
Well, someone, you know, but you know how much it costs?
Local here.
How much it costs to call an ambulance? You're going to be stuck with $2,000,
$6,000.
$6,000? A very expensive bill. Yeah, they'll come.
Better have insurance.
And
Better have
insurance may not, I'm sorry, you just have that, yeah, you know.
Mm.
There's, so where I live at in Santa, which I'm sure there's like all these private security companies who see them, right?
Mm.
And they've got maybe 1/2 square mile of, you know, and they cover that.
Mhm.
And then right next to me is another private security. And then, I don't know, I mean, you know, when people say defund the police, I could see a situation like that more so. Because I think there's something, I don't know, poor people in that. No, I don't think that in Johannesburg, I don't know for sure, but in the city itself, there are all these small private security companies that might keep fob, you know, pressing that button by mistake to open up the gates, you know, rather than the white button. Then, you know, before I turn around, there's 5 guys, are you okay?
Mm.
You know. But at home, you know, please, what you want? You know, I mean, they're not always, you know, or they'll come, you know, 20 at one time. You know, I mean, I had the police come to my house one time because there's some craziness going across the street. And I said, I hear somebody screaming, and they come to my door. Who are you? I'm like, I live here. So, no, you can't come to my house. What do you want? I'm calling you about something. Somebody be getting murdered across the street. Now you're interrogating me. You know, and then the guy that was in the house with me, he's like, I'm scared of the police. I'm getting out of here. You know, so if you find the police to be your friends, that's one. But I don't think most black people find the police their friend.
Not in the city.
No. My kid was just like 2 years old. He was in the back seat. And he stood up and looked, oh my God, the cops. And it's, we're like, where did you learn that from?
Mm.
Where did you learn to be afraid of the police? You're only 2 years old.
Well, that was one of the things I discovered here. I was here for 9 months. And one day, just out of nowhere, I just kind of looked behind me and looked up behind me. What is that? 8. He used to ride my back in these states called legacies, which was mostly because of police. Now I realized that two things in that moment. One, that I lived with that pressure every day in the States. And number 2, that I was not experiencing that pressure any longer. So I was grateful for y'all, but it also opened my eyes to the reality, as I mentioned, that I was living with that pressure in the States. So I'm grateful today that I'm not a part of it.
Yes, that's
Want to thank you all today for coming and just chatting it up. That's all we did. We talked about those things that you and your family would talk about around the dinner table. This is Let's Talk, and we love inviting you into our living room. Thank you for coming. See you next time.